Why are you pushing your agenda on me and my family? I'm not homophobic, but seeing two men or women holding hands in public is insensitive and gross. Sorry, I can't serve you today, but there's a great restaurant down the street. These lines are just a fraction of what LGBTQ plus people hear each day. Throughout the years, many minority groups have made monumental steps forward for their groups. Protesting, donating, and sticking up for one another has worked wonders in the past, and it is a large reason to why we still use these tactics today. However, even with years of opportunity to change, society has not made things much easier for the community. I believe that LGBTQ plus rights are put in flux every day, and change in society needs to happen imminently. As a member of the LGBTQ plus community, I understand how difficult the fight can be for people in the community to gain equal opportunity and rights. As fundamental human rights are denied, governmental actions fail to support the community, and representation in entertainment is at a bare minimum, the fight for equity is far from over. When basic rights are jeopardized consistently, the issues need to be addressed. Members of the community are still being denied basic fundamental rights, and many weren't even free of workplace discrimination until last month. Only recently could discrimination be prohibited in the workplace for LGBTQ plus people, and many forms of discrimination still take place in modern society. The Supreme Court ruled on June 15, 2020 that LGBTQ plus people could not be fired for merely being gay or transgender. It was a truly historic ruling and an official 6-3 decision. However, looking at a timeline, it is truly unacceptable. For people of the community, being fired for being gay or trans was allowed even just last year, and marrying your partner could be denied until 2015. Marital and workplace rights, rights that have been guaranteed to every straight human being for years, are just now becoming available to people of the LGBTQ plus community. While one cannot be fired for being a part of the community now, businesses can still deny service to LGBTQ plus people if their religion prohibits it. When it comes to LGBTQ plus rights, I believe they are human rights, not religious. LGBTQ plus people still face an incredible uphill battle when it comes to buying homes or insuring them. LGBTQ plus couples have been discriminated against while house shopping, and some have been denied the opportunity to put both of the couple's names on a homeowner's insurance policy. In lots of states, an owner who desires to give at least 50% of their property to another must pay a transfer tax on the property. If you're a married couple, these transfers typically are exempt for you. But when a member of a same-sex couple puts his or her partner's name on the file, it results in the transfer of 50% of the interest in the property to that partner and requires payment of a transfer tax. While the community faces an uphill battle on rights and societal issues, the government hardly does anything to protect these rights for LGBTQ plus people. From a higher level of perspective, the government is actually reversing the direction for LGBTQ plus rights. The Trump administration has proposed stopping transgender people from receiving health care while enlisted in the military. One reason that is cited is money, but when trillions of dollars are pumped into the military and transgender people make up a very small percentage of the military, I believe is more of a homophobic issue than a financial one. Trans people losing rights while fighting for our country is very unpatriotic to me. If we salute our soldiers, we salute all of them, not just the majority. The Trump administration is also pushing for adoption agencies to be able to deny LGBTQ plus people to adopt a child. This ban is once again on the basis of religion, but being unable to exercise a right in this country goes far beyond religious implications. It is more than okay to have your opinion and beliefs, but as soon as it undermines someone else's rights, I believe something needs to be adjusted. Many states have only recently repealed laws challenging LGBTQ plus people from adopting, so this new governmental pushback will make the process a million times more difficult for the community and possibly reverse the progress made. Mississippi just repealed their ban on same-sex adoption in 2016, only 4 years ago. The pushback from the government will only encourage the country to rethink the progress that has been made. As governmental and societal issues stand in the way of the community, even things as simple as entertainment can provide immense barriers for progress. LGBTQ plus people are hardly represented in mainstream entertainment, which creates bias and homophobia. A lack of representation in entertainment creates a homophobic bias due to the lack of exposure for the community. According to GLAAD, only 12.8% of films released in 2017 featured any character that was LGBTQ+. Not even just lead roles, but that counts for any character, even the ones that you just assume are gay and are not explicitly represented in the film. Also from GLAAD, there were a total of 0 films in 2017 that included any transgender character at all. If we are never exposed to LGBTQ plus people in films, we don't learn anything from the community. If mainstream films promote inclusivity, the minorities being represented might see change in the mainstream world. Most LGBTQ plus representation comes from independent films that are seen by few people. So if LGBTQ plus people are represented in blockbuster films, the audience will become more used to the idea of LGBTQ plus people being represented in films. It might not change their stance, but it will normalize people in the community a bit more than they are now. Because of this lack of exposure, it creates a false narrative that diversity is not so, which leads to diversity problems in the industry. When so few films are released starring LGBTQ plus people, if only a few of them bomb, it can easily be blamed on the representation, not the film or studio. In short, when we become more exclusive, we are putting handicap on certain communities without giving them a chance. Even with stronger representation, most films today that star LGBTQ plus people are put in a bad light. For example, in 2018's Bohemian Rhapsody, Freddie Mercury's bisexuality was kept mostly silent in the marketing campaign. It was portrayed poorly in the film, yet the film went on to make $900 million worldwide. With the lack of diversity on screen, the lack of representation in the real world becomes even more clear. Overall, LGBTQ plus people have been facing immense backlash, even today. With the reversal of human rights, a government against us, and hardly any representation on screen, it can be difficult to make progress in a world that doesn't favor you. After discussing these points, change cannot come fast enough for the community. As their rights are up in the air with each passing day, losing them becomes more of a harsh reality. As you think about how the LGBTQ plus is facing difficult times, think about this. What would you do if your rights were taken away?